Hey there, and welcome back to my channel, Speak of Mental Health. This is Erin Birdsall, licensed clinical social worker. So I am going to be doing a mini series on the differences between tough coaching and over-the-line coaching. So as many of you know, I follow the sport of gymnastics very closely, and I'm also big into mental health as a mental health therapist and clinical social worker. So I thought it would be fun and interesting to see what a therapist might think about some scenarios that happen in gyms all over the place every day. So I had someone grab some scenarios off the internet. I have not seen these yet, and I don't really know what I might be reading, so it will be a surprise to me as well as you. And I'm guessing they're going to be scenarios that there might be confusion on whether or not it's just too far over the line into maybe abusive, or if it's really more acceptable and not a problem that could be damaging. So I don't know what we're gonna get. So let's take a look and see what our first question is, or our first scenario. My coach will kick me out of practice if I cry. I cry when I'm frustrated, not because I'm weak. My coach says that crying is a sign of weakness. Well, I definitely don't agree that crying is a sign of weakness. And I'm not sure if coach is trying to be motivating by doing this, but I don't think that that's actually gonna work. I also don't know, do you mean kicked out of practice, for the day or, for a few minutes? Crying is an emotional response. It tells us something's up, and there's so many different reasons why a person might cry. It could be embarrassment, sadness, frustration. I don't know, but it definitely isn't because a person is weak. It's an indication that we need to pause and take a moment to reset. Do I think it's abusive or over the line to kick someone out of practice? Not necessarily. I think if we're talking about safety and, if we're in an emotional state where we're not safe, then, we probably should take a break. Do I think it's a bit much if we're kicking someone out of practice, for the rest of the day? Yeah, I think that's probably a bit much, especially because it's not going to solve our problem. I think what it comes down to is, coaches don't have a lot of knowledge about things like emotions and the reasons and functions of emotions, but our emotions are very telling, and every single one of them has a purpose. So the crying, I think, needs to be explored after a break, and I think a break can be relatively quick, and maybe find out what's actually going on with this kiddo. Why are we crying? And definitely I support taking a break if we're not in a good emotional state. Gymnastics is not super safe if we're not completely dedicated and paying attention to what we're doing. So it's definitely not weakness. But I do encourage anyone really to have conversations with coaches when everyone is calm and find out what it is that might actually be going on underneath the surface. So that is our first question. I think, to be completely honest, I think this is more common than you think. It's probably happening in most gyms. Coaches get very frustrated with crying. I'm not completely sure why. I think crying is kind of a normal human response. But yeah, I think it's a common thing, and I think it just needs to be understood a bit better. So that is it for segment 1. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. If you have comments or questions, drop them in the comments below. And I will see you in a couple days with question number 2. All right, have a great day, and I will see you soon.